Funding for this program is provided by the Annenberg CPB Project and the Ford Foundation. Additional funding by the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations.
A century ago, America saw its destiny in Asia.
Here, take my hand.
We cast ourselves as the saviors who would bring the lost souls of Asia to civilization.
Forward! Ho!
But our vision proved illusory, for we had little understanding of the people we were trying to Americanize. In 90 years, we fought 5 wars in Asia. Today, the Asia that has risen from all the wars and revolutions commands much of the world's economy. In the unfolding Pacific century, America must compete and cooperate. But the old images of Asians as an alien threat persist.
The Tong's underworld with its pleasure palaces, dens of evil, secret societies dedicated to 100 years of violence. These are the faces of the dreaded Red Dragon.
If you take a look at American perception of Asia, there's an enormous gulf between perception and reality. The perception is that the white man went into Asia and gave the Asian people a little bit of religion, a little bit of culture, and helped them to industrialize. However, in Asia, they look at it another way, that in the beginning, the colonialists came with the Bible, and of course, the Asians had the land. And after 100 years, then of course the colonialists had the land, but the natives had the Bible.
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching us to war.
God has made us the master organizers of the world, that we may administer government among savage and senile peoples. Were it not for such a force, this world would relapse into barbarism and to night. He has marked the American people as his chosen nation to finally lead in the regeneration of the world. This is the divine mission of America.
In 1900, America's prophet of imperialism, Senator Albert Beveridge, made his celebrated call for expansion into Asia. America had pushed to the western edge of the continent, and now the markets and resources of the Far East beckoned. We would make the Pacific an American lake. We would Christianize and modernize Asia for their good and our gain. Righteous sentiment combined with imperial politics produced 2 grand missions. Modernize China. Colonize the Philippines. We began our imperial quest by reaching for the resource-rich, strategically located Philippines. The 7,000-island archipelago was originally settled by Malays and later Chinese. For over 300 years, Catholic Spain ruled. Until in 1896, the Filipinos began a war to regain their independence. 2 years later, America declared war on the tottering Spanish Empire, taking Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Guam. Theodore Roosevelt and other proponents of U.S. naval power in the Pacific saw a golden opportunity to persuade President McKinley to establish an American presence in the Philippines. But President McKinley wasn't sure what America should do with the Philippines. With the defeat of the Spanish and an election upcoming, the president faced a public anxious for a decision. Do we honor our heritage and support the Filipinos' demand for independence? Or do we cut a deal with the Spanish and make the Philippines our first colony? Unable to decide, the president sought divine guidance.
I walk the floor of the White House night after night, and I'm not ashamed to tell you that I went down on my knees and prayed to Almighty God for light and guidance. And one night late it came to me this way, that there was nothing left for us to do but to take them all and to educate the Filipinos and uplift and civilize and Christianize them. And then I went to bed and went to sleep and slept soundly.
The decision to annex the Philippines provoked intense debate and passed the Senate by only one vote. McKinley called his policy benevolent assimilation, but it brought on a long, bloody war with the Philippine nationalists. This is the first American war film glorifying the white man's conquest in Asia. In this reenactment, filmed by Thomas Edison in New Jersey, the Yankees triumph easily. In reality, 125,000 U.S. troops fought in the Philippines for over 2 years, killing hundreds of thousands of Filipinos, whom the American troops called niggers or Injuns. One general, Howling Jake Smith, told his men to take no prisoners.
Kill and burn. The more you kill and the more you burn, the more you please me.
When one of his troops asked what the age limit was, he replied, "Everything over 10.
For all across the Philippines, in crimson flowing sticky streams, the blood of helpless human beings irrigate his memory.
The atrocities outraged Americans. And in 1901, as the war wound down, civilians took control from the military and committed America to a new policy of self-government for the Filipinos. The first Governor General, William Howard Taft, now referred to the Filipinos as our little brown brothers. Together, we would create a Pacific showplace of democracy. To help the Filipino people, America built roads, improved public health, and sent teachers to set up Asia's first free public education system. English became the official language.
I learned to read and write in English. The textbooks that we had in school were entitled, "This is our land. These are our neighbors. This is our town. My father's name is Mr. Brown. My dog's name was Spot. I lived on Main Street." At that time, every Filipino word we uttered in school, we had to pay a fine of 20 centavos.
Bakit niyo ako pinipilit pa kantahin ng English? Sinabi ko na sa inyo hindi ako maaari. Bakit din niyo ako kantahin ng Tagalog?
Oy, alamin mo na tayo nasa Manila. At ang dapat mong kantahin ay Ingles.
English opened the Filipinos to American culture, and soon they were infatuated.
I'm so in love with you.
Our music and movies, our stars and styles were powerful forces. They inspired a collective fantasy that Uncle Sam would lead the Filipinos to a glorious future. Damn the Americans. Why don't they tyrannize us more, complained Philippine President Manuel Quezon. A more repressive colonial power might have inspired a more vigorous nationalist movement. But the cozy relationship had its perks for the upper classes. They profited because their colonial government protected their vast land holdings and other privileges. In the 1920s, with a militaristic Japan already on the move, many Filipinos felt they needed a powerful protector. On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese attacked both Pearl Harbor and the Philippines. They promised the Filipinos liberation from the white American imperialists and Asia for the Asians. The Japanese had badly defeated the American and Philippine forces. Many of the Philippine elite collaborated with the new occupation. But most of the country supported the United States in the fight against Japan. Thousands of peasants in the countryside became guerrillas called hucks.
I said to the people of the Philippines whence I came, I shall return.
In 1944, General Douglas MacArthur kept his promise and returned to liberate the Philippines.